Hi, you're listening to Getting Real with Réal Andrews and Alex Urbina. You're listening to your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. And I'm Réal Andrews. I've got my buddy Alex here. For those of you who don't know me, I'm best known as Lieutenant Taggart off the soap opera General Hospital, but I'm also very passionate about health and fitness. I've owned 3 of my own gyms. I've been doing this for quite a long time. I don't think I want to say how old I am, but yeah, I'm actually 52. And I've teamed up with my good buddy Alex. And tell us a little bit about you, Alex.
Yeah, my name is Alex Urbina. I'm a transformational life coach. Been helping people realize their full potential for the last 20 years. Specialize in transformational trainings for teenagers, parents, educators, and just, the overall life coach, helping you get to the next level, getting inside the gap and calling you up to playing big in life.
That's nice. And kind of what's happened, the two of us come together. I kind of bring the fitness, physical side, the passion, and the motivation. Alex brings the mental, emotional, and spiritual. And together, we inspire you to be everything that you were created to be. We're every Wednesday at 1 o'clock. You can get your free app, your free KHTS AM 1220 app. Take us with you anywhere. You can download that. We're actually taking calls too, okay? If you want to call in, you can call in at 661-298-5487. That's 661-298-5487, KHTS. If we answer your question online, we're going to be doing a drawing once a month, and you'll get a free, one-on-one with me and Alex, and that's going to be great. We're really excited about that. So today, I'm excited because today's episode is what we called I don't make excuses, I don't take them, which has been one of my coined statements over many years. I'm pretty hardcore about that. And when I was doing a little research, we always like to start with something positive in the news or in the media or whatever. And I came across, Derek Coleman from the Seattle Seahawks. A lot of you might, if I mention Marshawn Lynch, everybody knows who that is, right? But actually, Marshawn Lynch is really only successful because of Derek Coleman. He's the one who blocks for him. He's the one who makes the holes. And what's amazing about him when we talk about no excuses, he was deaf. He's one of the first, I believe, the first NFL player, deaf player, to make it, to win a Super Bowl, to score touchdowns. And he shared how everybody told him, you'll never make it, you'll never do this, you're deaf, And so, that's phenomenal to me.
Absolutely. I think that if you give yourself permission to believe in what you're destined to be, if you have a deep burning desire or a yearn to overcome or achieve or go for your dreams, that's what you should need to you need to dial into listening to that voice, not the external voices that are going to be the naysayers and the doubters. You need to tune into your own inner radio station, turn it up full blast, and just have that be your motivator every single day. Some people get fired up when they have, the haters come at them. That kind of fires them up, but not everyone has that personality. Some people actually, it disempowers them because they can't tune external voices out. But a lot of work that I do is help you get touch with your internal voice in your spirit, and you crank that puppy up really loud, and that's your inner coach. That's your internal coach saying, yes, you can, and of course you can get this done, and really kind of motivating you to take to the next level.
Yeah, and Alex, I had a personal journey like that. I grew up in North Vancouver, BC. I was the only African American in a graduating class of 1,200, so you can imagine what that was like. I deal with all that kind of cool stuff, bullying and everything. But I remember specifically, originally I wanted to make the '84 Olympics. And then when I started to go down the road and to make it into acting, at that time, there wasn't really an African American, a lot of African Americans working in the film industry. And at that time, the NAACP said, you need to do more. And so Hollywood decided, they started to hire people like Mario Van Peebles and his father. They were black, but not really black and stuff like that. So I remember when I decided to get into the acting world, I had people say to me stuff like, there's no work for African Americans. Why waste your time? Only less than 3% make a living. And my mindset was, then I'm going to be that 3%. And I did get fired. When you told me I couldn't do something, I was going to do it. And I made sure that I did it.
When you talk about being the 3%, whether you believe you are or you have other people enroll you into that you're not, that's really what personal growth and personal development is all about, is you deciding that you are that 3%. You making a commitment to yourself that you want to be the 3% that lives on this earth that creates extraordinary results for yourselves. And is it possible for everyone? Absolutely. The difference is that some of us consciously choose to go down that path to seek excellence, and there's some of us that decide that where they're at is okay, and then they make the excuses, those back doors, that either they don't have what it takes. They let their limitations or self-limiting beliefs get in the way and sabotage that for them.
And Alex, I remember in my business what I do. We had a gentleman, he was from Alabama, and in his first month, he blew it up, and he was tearing everything up. He made more money in his first month than the average Alabama person makes in a whole year. And Alex, he called me one day, and he says, I've been doing some research. I've been on the internet, and I read that less than 3% make a living in this business, so I'm quitting. I was like, it was mind-boggling to me. Like he went right to the negative, to the excuses, instead of saying, look what I've done, and run with it.
Absolutely. I think that there's something inherent about people that if there's 1 or 2% doubt, people will hold on to the 1 or 2% and focus on that rather than the 98% possibility that you can create something. I don't know what it is about us as human beings, but I think that the fear comes up so bad that it's so much easier to just throw the towel or give in rather than to believe in your own personal power and that you have the ability to create whatever you want.
Right. And, in what I do in the gym, I'm such an advocate of, I don't make, like, when I start a class, when I get a new group, I have my little rules that I do. And one of them, I say to them, I don't make excuses. I don't take them. So, outside of you being hurt, which I want to hear about, don't even waste my time, because you're going to get a look from me like the deer in the headlights. I'm not even going to hear it. I'm not even welcoming it. I even tell my students, because we all know we like to post on Facebook. And every now and then, sometimes I see people saying, well, I'm not sure if I'm coming to class tomorrow because I'm tired or this and that. And I encourage them not even to do that, because what they're doing is they're already making an excuse. They walk in, hey, I'm sore from yesterday. So they're already giving themselves an out. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. In fact, not only are you giving yourself an out, but as you start to come into class and whine and complain about what you're already feeling, you're pretty much sabotaging, because you're so powerful as a human being. Your thoughts, your intentions, your words, everything that's about you is creative. So if you're already talking about what your ailments are and what you're going through, you're already creating that in the atmosphere. You're already sabotaging your next level rather than creating affirmations like, I love pain, or I'm starting to get used to this ache. You have to start like reconditioning yourself to speak into whatever it is that you temporarily didn't like in the previous version of you, and start choosing to like it, or start choosing to accept it, rather than coming up with these stories. And the complaining is very victimy and whiny, and it's not your higher self. It's not your best attribute.
And the other thing for me, right? Because it's all about the class, right? I've got a whole class here of people that I want to help. My thing is, not only are you sabotaging yourself, but you're giving openings to the other people in the class. So it's selfish to me, because now if they're feeling not so strong about something, they're going to, and I love what you call it, we're going to create the pity party.
The pity committee.
Pity committee, right? Right.
Yeah, when we're unconscious and we're creating, the scenario, the poor me, the victimization, it's very easy to go and enroll your friends into buying into your stories or your excuses. And you start to create a little pity committee of people around you that pat you on the back and say, that's, too bad. I'm so sorry you're going through that. Or, yeah, that was, shame on so-and-so for doing that to you. We collect people around us that validate that what's going on is that we're being victimized by it from the victim perspective, rather than having friends or a circle of people that say, hey, what if you thought of a powerful way to choose to interpret that? Or how did you create that? Or how did you co-create that? I'd much rather have people surrounded by me that aren't going to buy my BS and let me kind of swim around in my stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'd rather have somebody call me out to raise me to another level.
Absolutely. That's the famous saying, I think, who was it? John Maxwell, Brian Tracy, one of them, you will become the books you read and the people you hang around with in the next 5 years. And, it's like, as a trainer, when I hear what you're saying, it's like, okay, trust me, everybody who's coming to my class is sore from the day before. So we could all come in, oh, I'm sore, aching. But what about the fact that maybe yesterday in the class before, you just lifted 25-pound dumbbells for the first time? So rather than focusing on that negative, that excuse, come in fired up about, you know what, I'm excited, guys. I lifted 25 pounds yesterday. I'm looking forward to moving 30.
You know what? Are you open to coaching?
Absolutely.
I'd love to coach into the possibility to have you realize how to become even a greater. I mean, you're already an outstanding coach and fitness guru. I'd love to give you some feedback on how to take you to the next level. If you are open to the possibility that as you start to train and have people in your classes, if you start empowering people to realize that that's part of the process. And so maybe every class you tee up and you remind people, hey, if you're how many of you feeling sore, raise your hand, and you're going to get 90% of them, so that one person is looking around going, oh, I'm not the only one feeling sore. You have to keep reminding people that that's part of the process. That means your muscles are working. That means you're burning fat. That means you have to educate people. And I noticed that in the classes I've been in, I haven't heard you say that. Mm-hmm. I know that when people are whining and complaining, you kind of just brush it off and don't give it attention, which is also cool. But I think that there's another level for you to remind people, hey, if you're whining and complaining about it, just know that whatever you're feeling, you're supposed to be feeling that. That's a good sign. I think as you start to address it and remind people that that's the process to be in, I think slowly, a little bit of time, people are going to stop running their game and running their whining and complaining in your class.
You know what, Alex, thank you for that, and I appreciate that, because what that makes me think of as a trainer, because there's a lot of trainers out there like me with that mindset, suck it up, do it, I don't want to hear about it, right? But as a trainer, our goal is one goal, that's help people have a win, help them to be better. So what I love about what you just said, is that's rather than just shutting it off, let's turn that negative into a positive. Let's turn those excuses into a positive. And it's almost like what I just heard you say, like for some of us that have had the misfortune and they found themselves in a life where, I'm thinking of addicts and stuff, okay? The power of going to meetings, right, is that because I went through that road in an earlier time in my life. And when you're out there by yourself, you think you're the only one going through this. And I remember the first time I went into a meeting, all of a sudden it was like I was sitting there just like you said, wow, I'm not the only one. Hey, and then I didn't feel so bad, and it made me feel better. So I love that. That's good.
And I think also by you asking, who else is experiencing pain or ache in your body, or it's a constant, and everyone raises their hand, and everyone looks around, and they realize, okay, well, one, here I'm living the assumption like I'm the only one feeling like this, and nobody else is complaining but me. It's like you don't have to point out that they're complaining and that they have excuses. You can just kind of throw out a different question and have them realize that they're doing. I think that's way more powerful, is to get them to see that. And more importantly, I think that, just by addressing it and kind of opening up that possibility so they can see it, helps them kind of just move on.
Right. Yeah, because I could see the reverse. If you just were to squash that person, they may feel bad and not get the chance to realize that, because the other people are like, they're not saying nothing because they heard what Réal said and they ain't going, but they are sore, they are tired.
That's right.
Or whatever.
Everyone in the class is feeling like that. Yeah. But why are you the only one that's saying it?
Exactly.
And then everyone else that's conscious and aware and present is watching your reaction when they're doing that. Because whoever's doing it is most likely they're clueless or not really paying attention. So when they're whining and complaining, let's say I'm on the bike and someone comes up to you and they're whining and complaining, I'm watching how you're interacting with them. And I'm reading your body language and the way that you're kind of just letting it roll off your shoulder. I can see all that. So I'm now not going to, it's reminding me to keep it to myself, but I'm reminding myself that it's part of the process only because you shared that with me probably on a one-on-one. But not everyone in the class knows that. I think you need to keep sharing that, so that, because what you're doing is you're conditioning people to realize it's part of the process to ache and to have pains. That's a good sign. And in today's world, especially with millennials and Generation Y, they need to know why. Why do I hurt? Why do I have this pain? And so they're going to be like a broken record, every class coming in, whining and complaining and giving the excuses until you point out what the process is naturally. Once they understand it, I think they flip a switch and then they get off it.
That's awesome. Well, we're going to switch gears for a second. I'm going to bring on, hopefully she is there. She not able to be in the studio with us today, my beautiful wife, Michelle, with the fitness tip of the show. Are you there?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, you got to speak up a little bit, but we can hear you. I hope you're not on speaker.
Yeah, you need to turn the radio down.
Oh, there you go.
I turned the radio down. You can hear me now. Awesome. How are you guys? You know what, Alex, I love what you just said because it reminds me when I was dancing and I had a Russian ballet teacher that said, when you wake up in the morning and you are not in pain, you are dead. You need to feel pain.
Awesome. I love that.
I am 47 years old, and I still remember that. That kind of brings me into the fitness tip today of, I had a mom say to me the other day, I'm struggling with my child's weight, and I don't know how to get her weight in check. And I said, do I have your permission to say something to you? And she said, sure, absolutely. I said, well, let me ask you something. I said, you have the keys to the car. You and your husband make the money in the family. I said, so you're the one that goes grocery shopping. So it really has to start with you. And she kind of stopped for a second, and she goes, wow. I said, as your children get older, and, they're in middle school, they're in high school, they're going to have all kinds of temptations, and they're going to make choices. But there was something that Réal and I did when the kids were young enough to understand. And it's really interesting because our 14-year-old was reminding me the other day. He goes, Mom, remember the Dixie cup you did with us? And I said, oh, my gosh, you're right, Marcus. And it just really brought me back to full circle. So when they were young enough to understand, we gave them each a Dixie cup. And we said, every day you can put whatever you want in that Dixie cup, and we will not judge you. We will not tell you no. It is your choice to put what you want in that Dixie cup. And I'll tell you, one of my kids put pure white sugar. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, my goodness. But I was like, enjoy the process. I'm empowering them to be able to make their own choice. Well, as time went on, and as they started to see the value of that, Réal started to see the different choices that they were making about putting in that Dixie cup. So now fast forward to our children being almost 10, 12, and 14, they now know balance. And they know how to make really good choices. And if they want to do a little bit here or there, it's all in balance. And it really goes into, empowering, just like you guys have been talking about all day, and allowing them to have the freedom to make their own choice and allowing them to take the process. And my fitness tip to you is try to teach your children how to have balance. So as they grow into young adults and adults, they will know that, when you see that whole chocolate cake, sure, you can have a piece of it, but don't eat the whole cake.
That's awesome. One of my favorite sayings, Alex, is they will become who you are. And when I traveled around the country for a while doing a football combine, I tell you, you could see it coming. Here comes Mom, she's 350. Here comes Dad, he's 380. Here comes the 16-year-old kid, he's, already 280. Here's the 10-year-old daughter, she's 250. And they're coming to me, just like Michelle said, I don't understand it. My kid won't stop eating. And I would say the same thing to them, and I put it right back on them. I said, she ain't doing the grocery shopping. She can't drive. I said, you know what? You need to start right here.
Yeah, and here's something I want to point out that maybe, you guys aren't going to say it because you're humble, people, but your kids learned how to just kind of fall in line with balance because you guys are leading by example. They're watching your lead. It's in your environment. It's in the way that you walk, the way that you talk, the way that you breathe. It's just the way that you show up in your home that they're kind of following suit. And I hate to say it, but in order for our kids to follow suit, they're following you. And, I know I've made my mistakes, not being a great example when it comes to physical health. And I'm sure some of my kids are paying some of the prices but it causes an awakening as the leader of whatever tribe you're from to decide that whatever you want to see happening for the people that you love, you're going to have to go there first. It's just the way it is. There's no way around it. You can't give advice and supporting people if you're not, willing to dive into that one area and start to master it.
That's so good. Well, guys, we're going to be coming back in a second. We're going to be talking about the possibility of being addicted to excuses, which was mind-opening to me, and some other cool things. We're going to end up with some tools to help you deal with these excuses. You're going to hear from the real heroes. We got a lot of great stuff coming up. You're listening to Getting Real with Réal Andrews and Alex Urbina on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Don't forget, you can call in at 661-298-5487 KHTS.